And then it should start on both Facebook and on YouTube. Um, but we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Last time YouTube did not start on its own, and it was like 3 minutes into our talk, and I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, start." So yeah, YouTube, we are live. Facebook, we are live. Here, presently, we are live. But yeah, I am excited. I am very excited about talking about AI and talking with you two, because like we talked about this, but I just immediately clicked with y'all, and I was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be friends.
Definitely. 100%.
But yeah, but yeah, everyone watching live right now, if you're watching the replay or anything, if you have questions about AI, if you have questions about anything that we're talking about, drop them in the comments. Say hey, let us know where you're watching from, all that kind of stuff too. Always like to communicate with y'all. This is one of the reasons that we do these live is so that you can participate and ask questions and be part of the conversation too, so you're not just listening to us talking to your phone being like, oh, but what about this? You can actually type it in and say, but what about this? And then we can answer it. But yeah, well, let's get into the episode.
Let's do it.
I am really annoyed with my chair. Um, it is okay. So I have a spinning, like rotating, whatever chair,
Love.
and the kids love it,
Oh,
and
yes.
they have been asking a lot recently to take the chair out into the living room and just spin. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll do that. That's fun. I used to do that when I was a kid, and now it's just all creaky. And I'm like, but I am a podcaster. I can't have a creaky chair. So
Yes.
I
Things
am,
like that, like home, things like that.
yeah,
Do. Our front door is creaky right now. I mean, somebody tell me this in the chat because I'm sure this
yeah.
is an obvious answer. Our front door is creaky, and I'm like, gosh, that stinks. What am I even
Yeah,
supposed to do about that? How am I supposed to know what to do about that? Like, oh,
yeah,
adult
I know.
problems.
Yeah, YouTube. That's what it.
Yeah.
That's what you do about that.
I'm waiting for
Which
YouTube
that,
or someone in your chat.
which try some WD-40.
Okay,
Squirt a
thanks.
little bit of there in the hinges, and if that's
John's
what's
got
making
me.
the noise, you should be good.
Whew.
There we go. we're
I
just
think
gonna
Sam
we're
knew this maybe. Now that he said WD-40, I'm like, I think that's a thing.
Sorry.
yeah. Also, some people use olive oil just because it's not as smelly as
Yeah.
WD-40. But I grew up. My dad was a mechanic, so
Yeah.
for a little bit, and yeah, it was just it's like a smell of childhood, just like that
Oh.
sharp like carburetor cleaner smell and WD-40 and just dirt and grime. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just
Memories.
it's memories and nostalgia.
Yes. Wow.
but but yeah, well, Cam, Tia, welcome to the show. I am very excited to chat with y'all. I'm very excited to talk about AI and all of the things. I know that y'all have so much packed in for today's episode just from talking to y'all before we started recording. I'm like, this is going to be so much. I love it.
We're pumped.
But yeah, give I am pumped too. Give the listeners a little background for y'all, where you're based, what you do, all of the things.
Yes. Thank you, John. We're so excited to be here. So, we're Cameron and Tia. We met in second grade and we went to school together all growing up. So, we knew each other all throughout there and then finally started dating the end of our senior year of high school. So, we're barely high school sweethearts. We make it a thing. We rep it, make it a deal.
Yes.
And then post college, Cam was into photography. He had a camera. I was just dating him at the time. And I was like, hey, make this a business. How about we like get an email address, get a logo, seemingly elementary things, but I was pumped about them. You guys, I had no interest in photography. I was not photographing. I was just like, let's make this a business. And did I have a partner? Yeah, I forced myself into that. And so we photographed high school seniors only. So part-time, you guys. And I'm talking about like, I feel like there are a lot of photographers that start with seniors. That's low-hanging fruit. And then they're like, I'm doing seniors to get somewhere else. We were not.
Mm.
At the time, we had just doing our own thing. And then we got engaged and we fell in love with the wedding world. We love love. I know people hate when people say that, but it's us. Like we get pumped about it. And so we were like, let's try to dip our toes in the water. Let's book 3 to 5 weddings. That seems like a good goal. Cam was actually in his last year of law school. So 3 to 5 weddings reasonable. And we found out really quickly we are not dip our toes in the water kind of people. We are
Yeah.
dive head freaking first. Like we just go and jump and build wings. And we ended up booking 18 weddings with zero portfolio. We had never second shot. You guys,
Wow.
we didn't even images. It was I cannot believe it. But from there, it snowballed. We shot 32 weddings our second year. We both left our full time jobs. Cam only worked as an attorney for 11 months in there, and then we just went full out. And so, Cam and I primarily photograph weddings. We also do education courses. We have a shop full of templates and guides, and we do coaching for other photographers. And we're based in snowy, freaking cold Minneapolis, Minnesota. So
Is
that
it
is us.
still snowy for y'all right now?
Oh, on. We have about 3 feet of snow piled up in our front
Oh
yard.
man.
It's just like
Wow.
stuck there. I mean, we've had some say quote unquote warmer days. It's like
Uh-huh.
36 and we're like, "Oh, it's feeling springy." We'll walk around
Yeah.
without a coat, but the snow is still there and
Yep.
will be there for a bit, I
Uh-huh.
think.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's I guess that makes sense. It is still technically winter. Or
Yeah.
wait, is today the first day
I
of
think today
spring?
is the
It's
first day.
Yay!
Ooh, yes, get
Chills
it?
because you
Yes.
have 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, I love that story, like how y'all got started and everything. And I love like what you said, Tia, about how y'all weren't doing senior portraits just to like I want to get into weddings because that's where the money
Yeah.
is, or I want to work to get my way to this. It was like we love seniors and this is where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of like mirrored where y'all were in life of like before y'all got engaged. You were very focused on seniors and taking those photos, which was very similar to where you are. And
Mhm.
then got engaged and was like, now our life is weddings.
Yep.
So
Yep.
wedding planning and all that, getting into that. How for someone I also booked weddings without a portfolio,
Yeah.
never second shot. I have now, but like for the first like 5 years I never second shot
Yeah.
and booked people. How do you think you like gained people's trust to hire you for a really important day of their life whenever if they were like, show us your wedding work, and you're like, we don't have any,
Yep.
but we will
But
take great
Uh-huh.
photos. Like,
yes.
how did you like build that trust for them?
Yeah, so it was really unique in that Cam and I were romantics, and we obviously knew that second shooting is a great route. So anyone listening here who's building up a portfolio, that's a really easy way to follow a
Yes.
traditional pathway, and it's a great way to get a whole lot of experience and a portfolio. We were like, which one of us would second shoot? Why would we go off with a different wedding and a different wedding when we could shoot one? Like, oh, we just felt romantic about it. Cam
Mhm.
called us stubborn about it recently, which yeah, that was the vibe too. So we were like, let's just go balls to the walls, let's
Yeah.
go hard and let's figure this out. There are
Yeah.
two things that got us built and just inquiries. The first is not again a strategy that I typically recommend, but I think it's a really unique case study in hey, figure out somewhere you can get traction and go hard in that. Put all your eggs
Mm.
in that basket or 2/3 of your eggs in that basket. We did Facebook group posts and I got very cheap. So that is a huge selling point there. But I would get really intense about Facebook posts and I would see everyone commenting, me with websites listed and websites listed. And instead, I would make a GIF that had some photos that were not wedding photos again because we didn't have any, but they'd flip through, so it'd kind of like stop their scroll of like, whoa, here's a
Mhm.
big photo. I would have all kinds of personal connections. I'd go on their Facebook. I'd get a little stalkery, and I'd be like, oh, we have mutual friends. Oh, we went to the same college. Oh, I know this person that knows this person. I'd have that in the comments there so that we were just standing out because I think Facebook groups is one of those things Again, not a super powerful strategy in most cases, but it's just you just need to disrupt a scroll. You just need to stand
Yes.
out in some way. And so we were doing Facebook groups. And then another piece was our
Yeah,
consults. We got
definitely.
Mm.
really intentional about powerful consultations that where we could go in and we could wow people with the things that we did have, which was organization. We had put a ton of time and energy into figuring out a great client experience when we didn't have
Hmm.
clients, when we
Yep.
had shot a wedding. And
Yeah.
I think personality.
Yeah.
Personality was a big piece. Do you want to talk on that at all?
Yeah. I mean, also in addition to personality, I just felt like in general we were intentional. Like we knew it was going to be hard, and people were
Mm.
going to have to find a way to trust us. And I think one big way that we did that was we laid everything out beforehand. Before our very first consult, we knew exactly what we were going to say, how we were going to sell ourselves, and everything. And yeah, we were just intentional. We laid everything out
Mm-hmm.
so that to do that meeting, they saw us as someone with experience, even though we couldn't actually show that experience.
Yeah, we brought
Yeah.
enthusiasm. We just like tried to pitch as much as
Yeah.
possible. And I think that that's a testament to a lot of people will go into a consultation not yet knowing their client workflow or knowing parts and pieces of it. And that shows through
Uh-huh.
to a client. They don't know what they're looking for. They
Right.
don't know, like, oh, you're missing this, but they know that you're not sure about it. And I
Yeah.
think
Oh
that
yeah.
that is just automatically yellow flag, red flag, whatever that client.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that preparation is so key. And there have been times, even recently, where I've gone into a consultation and I am not in a good headspace or something, and I can just
Yeah.
feel something is off. Like I am not, I'm not bringing the enthusiasm. I am not like my normal self. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to book this one because of how I went into this, or like coming off of, uh, I always try and set at least 10 minutes or so before any discovery call, consultation, where I can get into the headspace of this is who I'm talking to, do a little bit of research. I am a
Yeah.
huge fan of
Uh-huh.
social media stalking.
Oh, same.
And like I get an inquiry and I'm just like, let me look them up.
Oh,
what do
absolutely.
what do the faces look like? Do it look like fun people? Is
Yes,
this
I
gonna
have no
be,
shame.
yeah, me neither. And I just have to be careful and not like be like, oh, your dog, like, and it's like start talking about things that they have not shared with me. And I promise I'm not stalking you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice um, for newer photographers kind of getting into it, whatever genre you're getting into, is um, prepare before you ever have any clients, and figure out how do you want your client experience to be, how do you want them to feel, and what do you need to do to provide that, and then even write that out. I still have, oh, nope, I don't anymore. Okay. I used to have a list of questions that I asked during a client consultation because I wanted to make sure that I hit on those 5 questions
Hmm.
in those 15 minutes. And now I guess it's second nature. I don't have to look over at the list
Yeah.
anymore. But like
Yeah.
that was very important so that I wasn't just like, so how'd you get engaged?
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't know, small talk,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then let me talk about my prices and what I can do for you. Um, so
Yeah,
that's
and
cool.
not to go down a full consultation rabbit hole, but applying
Hey,
the
we're good.
preparation piece, like obviously putting together your client workflow is at the beginning. You need to do this and it needs to not have holes and it needs
Hmm.
to feel seamless. But leveling that up as you become more experienced in consultations, I think you need to even evaluate like what you're saying, how you want them to feel, how you're prepared going into it. And then like, who has the power during what part? When are you asking questions? When are you receiving questions? When are you leading them through an experience? And when are you letting them lead you through their lives? And things like that become then the next level of that preparation piece of just taking it up of where's the and who's taking control of this consultation.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's so good. Okay, I love it. I love that tangent that we just
Fun.
went
Yeah.
off on, and it's
I
like
love a tangent.
someone needs that. Someone listening
Yeah.
is just like, I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that I needed that, but I need to implement that. So okay, to come back from the tangent, AI.
Yes.
I know this has been a pretty hot topic. A lot of people have been talking about it, and
Hmm.
how
Yep.
I've been hearing a lot of like AI is going to take our jobs and all those kinds of things. Um, I don't believe that. I'm sure that's y'all are shaking your heads too. You don't believe that, but
Nope.
like, could y'all give a little like description of like what even AI is? How, like, what are some ways that we can incorporate that and be early adopters?
Absolutely. Take us away, Cam.
Oh gosh. I mean, so AI, like on a fundamental level, is a piece of software that is mimic like a human intelligence. A lot of like the big things we're seeing now with like a chat GPT type thing. It's called a natural language AI. So it's literally trying to mimic the way humans talk. So when you're interacting with a piece of software, it feels like you're interacting with maybe a person of some sort.
Yeah.
Basically, AI is a tool we can use like to better ourselves and our businesses. It's a way to make things more efficient, easier, faster, better in some fundamental way.
And I was initially the I was like, Cam, this has nothing to do with me. I don't want to kind of take 2 steps backwards to now I know take 2 steps backwards to take 5 steps forward. But I didn't start researching AI, start playing with tools when Cam was encouraging me. Tell them about
Yeah,
all
well, I
them.
feel like also you're just like some new tech things. I am very time I can get my hands on some new sort of tech or anything like that, I get fired up.
Yep.
Tia gets a little scared
Yes.
just by default, and that's just, I mean, that's
That's
fine.
my
That's her
nature.
personality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
personality type.
But I start like going through our daily routine, our house, things we have. Like anytime she asks Siri to set a timer for her, or when we're driving our car and she has it does autopilot to stay in the lane, or when she just asks Google for navigation routes to get to the place that we're going. Like she is using AI in her life every single day in all of these little ways that she's actually now grown to just completely rely on and like fully trust. But like that still is a little piece of AI. It's very tailored, it's very small, but it is AI. And so now all we're doing is thinking on a bigger scale. Like what? Yeah.
I did not
Yeah.
realize that our entire life literally surrounding me. I look around right now and I'm like, AI, AI, AI. Our shades, we say, like, we can tell them good night and our shades will all go down. They rise at a sunset or at sunrise time. Like, literally, I look around our house right now and I'm like, AI is surrounding me everywhere. So why would I not embrace it right now?
Oh yeah.
The piece about replacing people's jobs. There are 2 ladies, a duo collective. They have a podcast called Duo on Air. And Abby told us, we were chatting with her, and Abby was like, you know what? It's almost the reverse. And I had this huge mindset shift because she's like, eventually there will be positions that are like AI managers. This will be creating jobs because people will be an AI manager on our team who is literally facilitating how our marketing is going through AI, how we're creating AI content and copy. And I was like, girl, what? I did that. I
In
love
reality,
it.
too, it's not like AI is replacing a creative entrepreneur.
Right.
It's creative
Right.
entrepreneurs who use AI are going to replace creative entrepreneurs who don't.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, like, we've grown up with all of these AI apocalyptic movies,
Uh-huh.
like AI,
Yes.
or iRobot or something like that, where it's like, well, this is just the next step, and then
Right.
they're gonna, if they can create artwork, what's next? They're gonna start,
Yeah.
taking over the cities, and yeah, I think that can be an initial response
Right.
for a lot of people, and
Definitely.
for me, I was like, I'm not gonna use AI. Like, what am I gonna use AI for? And yeah, Cam, like you talking about like uh, with like Siri and Alexa and like
Yeah.
Google Home and like all of these things, as well as smart cars and
Mm-hmm.
so many smart appliances in the house now.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
like there's a lot of
Uh-huh.
AI already in our lives that we just kind of have already adopted.
Yeah.
Even
Yes.
on our
Uh-huh.
phones,
Yeah, using
we
Face
have
ID
AI
to
in
unlock
there.
your phone. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's stuff that it's just it's second nature now. It's been
Right.
around for a little bit. We don't think of it as artificial intelligence. It's, well, yeah, that's just how I unlock my phone. That's
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
security. It's,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I think that's a really good, like, for anyone who is skeptical of AI, hearing that is like, it's already around you. Like we're already living with a lot of AI. I remember the movie Smart House. Did y'all ever
Yep.
watch
Oh
that?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the
Uh-huh.
Disney
Wait,
Channel.
Disney?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember watching that as a kid and just being like, that would be insane.
Yes.
And now it's like almost everything and that smart house is stuff that you can have today.
Yes. I
So
need a
yeah,
rewatch. Ooh.
me too. I saw the guy, the kid in that movie. I don't remember his name, but he was in a lot of Disney Channel movies around that time, like Luck of the Irish and stuff. And he was in a commercial recently, and it was something about AI and like smart technology, and I was like,
Funny.
I see what you're doing
Yep.
there, getting
Yeah.
us nostalgic millennials and
I
elder
love
Gen Zs over there.
Yep.
Yes.
Uh,
Uh,
but yeah, okay. So what are, you talked about how we can, it's not really that AI is taking over and doing our jobs, but how we
Mhm.
can start using and
mhm.
incorporating AI into our businesses. What are some ways that we could do that?
Yes. Okay, so goal here is that we want to give you guys a ton of ideas to get in and see some applications for you guys' actual business today. So we're going to walk through a bunch of tools, but first the umbrella of this is we really want to promote you to just trying these, just starting to figure out and just like getting curious with them.
Yeah.
Um Cam loves curiosity. He just absolutely goes crazy for it. Tell them a little bit about that.
Well, so I mean, part of my personality is also I maybe procrastinate a bit, or I get distracted sometimes while I'm working, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes I'll be working on it, and halfway through, I'm thinking, wow, there's probably a better way to do this out there somewhere, like some sort of tool or software, something that can make this a little easier, and maybe I should just spend an hour instead of working researching.
Yeah.
Like that's how you're
Seeing if it's
productive.
out there. Yeah.
You never
Sir,
know.
what? Come on. Like we have this nicely laid out batch
Yep.
working
Uh-huh.
schedule and it's how we
Uh-huh.
operate together when we're on podcasts, when we're taking
Yep.
consults. And I'm
Yep.
like, this has nothing to do with it.
Yes. So now, obviously, we've incorporated that into the batch work. So now I have a day of the week that I have dedicated to researching. So when I'm in the middle of a project and I
Yes.
start thinking, I bet there's something else out there, I'll just write it down. And I know on Fridays, I have my curiosity hour. I can do my research. I can see what's out there and just like let my mind go where it wants to go. And like just
Mhm.
have fun, like seeing what else new is out there, how I could do my job better, or I could have more fun in my job. Like just little things like that that allow me to explore.
And the great thing about it is for any fellow procrastinators out there, or
Yeah.
any people that even have a inkling of like, oh, shoot, I want to figure this out, but I don't have time to figure it out right now. I need to keep making forward progress. He knows
Yeah.
that he can jot that down on a post-it quick and he's coming back to it on
Mhm.
Friday. So anytime that his mind starts wandering to that, he knows that he has the
Mm.
time, because I know how it can feel, even when I felt resistant about AI, of like, oh, I don't want to step backwards when I
Right.
could be making forward progress, when I could
Right.
be responding to clients, and I don't even know if this is going to be fruitful to take steps backwards. And so I think it works really mindset shift of I know there's the time for that, so that's where I'm going to allocate all those resources. So
Yeah.
that said, get curious. Figure it out
Yes.
in there.
I love that. And I love that designated, because whenever you have designated time to do something, you're more intense, and
Right.
it's not like in the back of your mind. Like if
Exactly.
I'm in the
Mhm.
middle of doing something and I'm like, oh, I should look up this, and I all the time, where especially with like if I have an upcoming trip or something, I'm like, oh,
Yep.
I should probably book
Uh-huh.
that flight. Let me see what the flights are. And then I just
Yep.
and I'm looking at all the flights and looking at hotels and all this, and then an
Exactly.
hour goes past. I'm like, well, I didn't purchase anything because it said that the price was a little bit high right now, and instead could even just like jot that down real quick, put
Yep.
it to the side, some designated time later to go through these post-its of just like miscellaneous tasks that are just going to pull you out of that, like whenever you're in that really good cycle where it's just like you're locked in
Oh,
and you're
yes.
working, and it's just like I feel like I can just do everything, and you're
Yes.
just working and everything else is gone, but then that one thing pulls you out and then you try and get
Uh-huh.
like, I'm bored, I don't want to do this anymore, I need to get up,
Uh-huh.
and it pulls you out of that creative like
Right.
Flow state.
so
Yes.
yeah, that flow state. So I love that, having designated curiosity and designated time to go Google stuff, search on TikTok for these different things, and instead of just like I'm and then coming back and not getting your work done.
Yes.
Right.
Or the reverse.
Love that.
today, if we
Yeah.
go through a bunch of tools and then you're like, okay, cool, what am I going to do with this? There needs to be time allocated for you to start implementing these. Otherwise, on a
Yes.
podcast, and I do this often on a podcast. I listen on drives, I listen in the shower. And unfortunately, I'm not taking action because I'm not putting those into a to do list, into my Asana of, hey, this needs to be on my Friday during my curiosity
Hmm.
hour. So that's what all the listeners are listening today of like, oh my gosh, this is so much. How am I going to implement this in my business? How am I going to even explore the tool? Put that in a compartment, put that in that time frame so that you can actually start tools.
Yeah.
So sorry, I
Okay.
took a side note. I did
Yeah,
not
you did.
answer what
No, you
tools
did
we were
not.
doing, but now let me
No.
tell you some tools.
No, that was so important. Like I definitely taking that. I am gonna have
Yes.
my curiosity hour every, because I feel like I can even do that. I've got 3 kids. There's only certain hours that
Right.
I can work from home, being the
Yes.
primary
Mhm.
parent.
Right.
I do not need to be filling that with, curiosity line, but I can sit there while they're coloring
Yes.
Mhm.
yard, and I can sit there while I'm pushing them on a swing or something, and have that curiosity.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
okay,
I love it.
cool, awesome, me too.
Tangent.
Yep. Tangent.
Yes,
Tangents all over.
yes.
So tools. Okay,
Tools.
so first and foremost, ChatGPT. Um, currently think ChatGPT is where it's at. The biggest reason being is that it is currently not behind a paywall. So a lot of these tools will have a paywall at some tier or will likely in the future have a paywall. They're just too powerful not to have something coming down the
Well, too
road.
expensive to run, honestly.
Yes. So ChatGPT, the biggest thing is right now, if you go to ChatGPT, it will often say that you cannot get in, it's at capacity. What we recommend
Mhm.
there is literally refreshing. And this sounds so dumb, but Cam told me, and I like went on ChatGPT and I'm like, hold up, what is happening here? It's capacity. I thought that meant that I would not be able to get into the application until I don't know,
Mhm.
someone tapped out or something.
Right.
But in a lot of times when you refresh or when you X out. You can literally now go to AI.com
Yep. Yeah, they
and
bought
your
AI.com.
sorry, what'd you say?
They bought
Yeah, they bought
AI.com.
AI.com. That's how powerful it's getting,
Okay.
y'all.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll get access. Yes. So here's what I recommend. With a
Okay.
lot of these tools we're going to talk about, ideation and first drafts are where it's at.
Mm.
I would even go so crazy to say sometimes I am getting final drafts from ChatGPT. So what I recommend is the way that we can apply this is blog posts. For example, John's putting out a podcast. He needs show notes. He maybe has a blog with it. He has descriptions that go in the podcast. For photographers listening, you have, your client blog posts. You might have tips about engagement session locations. You might have things about what to wear on an engagement session, how to plan your timeline, how to do sunset photos, anything like recommend getting into ChatGPT and you can have a conversation with it. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say, hey, ChatGPT, I like to talk to it conversationally. You obviously do not need to do that. But I'll be like, hey, what's up? But I'll
Hey,
say, give
friend.
me a blog post. Literally,
Yeah, thank you,
John,
please.
you have seen my log on ChatGPT. So I'll log on. Hey, friend, give me a blog post of 300 plus words explaining engagement session that I had with Blake and John. And it was super fun. We had awesome weather and it was at Boom Island Park. And it'll go boom, 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 and it'll populate a 300 word blog post. Now, don't stop there. The key with these tools is to probe and to give them more information and to just go deeper and deeper with it. So they're all then okay, well, can you give it to me in more of a fun, flirty, joyful tone, which is our brand? And then it'll give
Mhm.
me, it'll add that all on there. It'll redo it. And then I'll say, okay, can you add a paragraph about this specific thing that happened? So maybe they brought their dog Frito and Frito was like running around crazy and I want to add that in their blog post. And I'll just continue probing and probing and probing until it produces something that I love.
Yeah. I think also like you need to prompt it like crazy. Like you need to
Yes.
tell it exactly what you
Uh,
want it to do. And sometimes like that does take a lot of work, but as you get like a little more curious, as you start like exploring the software, finding its limitations, that you start learning exactly the things you need to produce the results that you want.
Mm-hmm. And so the reverse of that, so there's our like first draft. There's
Mhm.
it just like creating content for us. I will also use it for ideation. And I think this is way powerful. So, those that don't have a partner in their business, which is going to be a lot of us that are solopreneurs, you're
Oh yeah.
at this alone. ChatGPT, it becomes your friend and it will give you so much ideation content. And again, it might not give you a winner, but it's going to give you, like, let's say I'm creating we do YouTube weekly. So I'm creating a YouTube and I need a title. I'm going to just input the paragraph description, or I'm going to maybe input my script if I had bullet points, anything like that. And I'm going to say, give me 10 titles that have a, let's say, super funny tone to them. I want some puns in there. Make sure that it's super clickable and will generate a ton of traffic for me. ChatGPT is then able to, scrape the entire internet, and it's able to use 10 titles for me. I might not love them. I do a lot of punny stuff on ChatGPT because I think that kind of aligns with parts of our brand. Some of the puns are god awful. They're so bad. But would
Yeah.
I have thought of those? No. And so it's allowing me to then piece together, like, oh, the beginning of this title and the end of this, I love that. Let's just put those together. Perfect. There's my title. It's clickable. It knows that it's going to get some high traffic. It's maybe a little clickbaity. I'm feeling it. I'm into it. And it's just really helping us generate and being that or third party in so many ways. What's that Tom thing?
Yes, I can't remember from who, but they said AI is basically it's a Tom. It's a totally obedient moron. So they will do what you ask them to do, but they have no idea
Yeah.
what they're actually doing. So and that gets back to the prompting. Like you need to like sit
Hmm.
down and spell out exactly like this type is going to be talking about this type of video. It needs to be
Yeah.
clickable. It needs these things. Like see, like you need to have sometimes like a full paragraph prompt just to tell it do. But the more specific you can get, the more tailored, the better the result will be.
Mm-hmm. Along
Yeah.
that, you can also tell them what you want them to be, which that's seen great success with. So I'll tell them it. I don't know. I'm unsure. I'll tell my friend
Yeah.
ChatGPT, and I'll be like, you are an experienced photographer that shoots fine art film, and you've been shooting for 10 years. Now a blog post on blah 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 blah, and then it knows what it's searching and it knows what to kind of grab and scrape
Yeah.
the internet for to act as that. And I see as a lot of success in like giving it a persona. With us, we're creating new products for photographers, and I'm able to tell them what they're acting as. Title for a product, it can give me the sales copy, it can give me bullet points to put on a description on Shopify, all the things. I just need to really treat it as though Tom and give it as much information to act as something to really spit out those results that are going to be super powerful for us.
Yeah, and beyond all
Yeah.
that too, it can also do little like it can write like little snippets of like code for you, which is just insane. We recently released a product. It was like it's a timeline wizard. You enter in your sunset time and it like calculate your whole timeline for you, and you can do these overrides and all
Nice.
this stuff. It's really cool. But I got like maybe like 96% of the way there, and I'm like, this is so good. But there are these use cases, very rare, but there are use cases that are there that just how can I get this to work? I Googled for like a month trying to figure it out. Eventually, like when we start getting a chat GPT, I started asking it, like, how would you program Excel to do these things? And then I got more specific and more specific and more specific. And eventually it gave me literally lines of code. It gave me macros, it gave me lines of code that I could just add in, literally copy and paste. And
Yeah.
I tweaked maybe like one line, but otherwise perfect
Nice.
fit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you have a like a mentor who is proficient in whatever you're asking for. They don't actually know what you're asking
Yep.
for yet.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Line of different people, and you're just like asking someone, what do I need to fix this?
Yes.
And they're like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, I'm a coder. Let me talk to all of these people, and then you finally get to the right one, and then you can like descriptions and all of that to really define, like, going to the doctor or something. You've got your primary physician is just like whatever, and that's
Mhm.
how my doctor talks apparently. And sick, and and then you have your specialist. Like I feel like giving like your initial your initial interaction hey chat, hey Tom, here's what I'm looking for. Is just like, here's stuff, and then you can be like, cool, here's a little bit more description of what it is, and going back and forth with them, figuring out what a product is going to be, instead of just like, I could see a lot of just going there and being like, hey, give me 10 podcast topics that photography, and then you get that and you're like, this is fine, but it's
Uh-huh.
that I wouldn't have come up with. So then
Yep.
you leave it. But like diving deeper, asking those follow-up questions and really defining what it is you're looking for, which I know for me, like I would probably come to what I'm looking for by having that conversation with ChatGPT, where I'm like, I don't know this, but
Right.
this is where I'm
Yes.
starting. And then through the back and forth, finding, oh, this would actually be a really helpful for photographers. So
Uh-huh.
Yes.
thanks ChatGPT. I wouldn't have like,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
it would have taken me a long time to figure this out on my own, but you can just like, someone who has the entire internet at their fingertips,
Right. Uh-huh.
or whatever tips they do have, uh, their their uh, their ones and zeros, to just
Yeah.
scan through everything. So
Uh-huh.
that's
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love
yeah.
that analogy too, like the generalist versus specialist too, because like not only is
Mm,
that great inside of ChatGPT, but like outside it as well.
mhm.
Like you'll start learning as like explore more with ChatGPT. There are some things it can do really well. There are some things it's not so great at. But now there are all these, and like with this, almost feels like a revolution in AI that's coming, and it's just
Yeah.
like all
Oh
these
yeah.
new tools that are only designed to do this one little tiny thing, but do it so well. I feel like I don't know. You have you
Yeah.
want to talk about, and a lot of those are going like
Our
start to become
specialists.
more tailored, and they are the specialists that once ChatGPT can't quite do all these things, or it's not quite getting your tone,
Yeah.
like these are the
Mhm.
tools that will hit
Yeah.
it.
So I think
Okay.
ChatGPT is a great place for everyone to start
Yep.
because I love it because I can do everything on there. I can do, if I'm putting together a blog post, it can put together the blog post for me. It can put together my meta description. It can put together my title. It can put together my slug, everything. But like Cam was alluding to, there are a lot of specialists. One thing that I think is going to be really great for your audience, John, is an app called Descript. And Descript is a video editing platform at its basis, but I'm going to explain a few applications of it. And what happens is I can create a video, and let's say I a video for my clients. So I am wanting it to be an onboarding video, and I just want to welcome them, and I want to say, hey, awesome, I'm so excited. I want to make that personal touch point. We've had a great, but now I want to take it to the next level. I don't want to just send them an
Mhm.
email. So I make this onboarding video. I upload it into Descript, and then Descript spits out an entire script. So it is insane. It's translation properties are great. They are
Hmm.
honestly phenomenal. You will have to edit a few things here and there, but it's phenomenal. But then what's amazing about Descript is it has the script side by side, and I literally highlight a sentence, press delete, it removes that from the video. I can toggle on remove ums or remove pauses, gets rid of them from the video. So it is
Wow.
editing side by side with the script. And then where that can be really powerful is obviously that makes editing videos so speedy, saving time
Yeah.
that you were alluding to. Oh my goodness. Like I cannot imagine just being able to look at the script and just being able to remove sentences,
I mean, honestly, the transcript generation by itself is pretty handy.
is very
Right.
handy.
Oh
Maybe you
yeah.
want to create short form that.
Yeah.
You can actually do that on Descript. You can crop it to be a short form video. It has what's called dynamic text. So you see that in a lot of like podcasters that then put their podcast
Uh-huh.
episodes on short form video. It does dynamic text for you. It has tons of fun options there. Honestly, dynamic text is one of, I think, 8 different adds like blobs or different fonts or whatever that is to make it fun. So there's that
Yeah.
application. Going back to the client application, I make this onboarding video, and I would typically record an onboarding video for every client. I want that to be personalized. I want that to be a touch point. I want to say their name. I maybe want to think that that we chatted this morning versus this afternoon. Instead, in Descript, I can change words. So instead of saying, hey, Hannah, I can now say, hey, Blake, and I can replace it and have it be Blake, and it will use its AI properties to have me saying Blake. Now, can I do full sentences? No. It will get wonky. It can't have that capability right now. But things like swapping thanks for the great consult this morning or this afternoon. I can just swap and I can add that personalized touch over and over and over. I reuse that video every time. I'm not having to be camera ready, do my hair, do my makeup, get my lighting, get my setup every single time I want an onboarding video. I record it once and I can just have that touch point over and over and over.
Yep.
And so when you start thinking about those potential
Yeah.
for unique touch points with your clients, like that is astronomical. I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh
it's
yeah.
like you make a little mistake when you're recording. You do a whole 2-minute
Yes.
take straight to camera,
Mm.
and you realize I just used in the middle of this,
Yep.
or I used the wrong word. Like that doesn't actually mean anything. I just need to say this word instead of that,
Yes.
and now
Yeah.
I have to re-record the whole thing. Well, no, with this, you just go in, you find in the place of the transcript, you delete and replace with the word you meant to say,
Yep.
and then you're good to go.
Exactly. So cool.
So is this just like matching your tone and voice and changing the audio, or does this change the video as well? To where like if you say hi Hannah, that's gonna look differently
Right.
than like it's gonna look like you're like dubbing over if it's like Blake and your mouth
Yes.
is doing Hannah.
So it changes the video, I would say slightly. Like I think
Okay.
when you start getting crazy, like if it was hi Hannah and then you're going to hi, something long. I couldn't
So
even
yeah.
think of what that would be. Like Cameron Goff, my husband. Like you're trying to switch it to something like that, it's not going to work well for you. Like good morning, good afternoon, easy, done. It's doing both your text, but more so it's doing the video.
Yeah,
for
and
you.
really, you're only going to find
Okay.
if you are at this point it was changed. Let me
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
the lips and see, and then maybe.
And
Okay.
even then,
So
let's go down to hypothetical. The client is looking for the name to be swapped because they're an AI specialist somewhere in their world. It still has the personal touch point. They still know that you put the effort in to switch the name.
Right.
That's the far
Yeah.
scope hypothetical. Regardless,
Yeah.
it looks pretty good in most cases.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I was like, I
Right.
would love to do that, but I don't want it to look like dubbing over from like one of the like a Japanese like action film
Yeah.
to where they're just like all the voice is
Yes.
not matching the lips.
Yeah.
So okay, that's very
And
cool.
it's also like the
Exactly.
first year of the product too. So like
Right. Yeah. So
only
it's only going to get
with
better.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Another fun one I wanted to tell you about is something called Mini Chat. And Mini Chat is basically an automated bot. Now freeze, don't get stressed because it is an automated bot in your Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger. It can also do SMS. And I automated bot on Instagram. People are like, nah, Tia, I'm not into that. That you get like fake follower vibes and that kind of thing. But I think you're going to be really excited about this. What it is, and some people might have seen this, some large marketers are really using this like hard right now because I think it's very powerful and it has really fun implications. What happens is I post Instagram Reel, and in Instagram Reel, I tell all of my friends and followers, hey, comment, learn more. And then if they learn more, I'll be able to get them a guide that I was alluding to. And so from there, learn more, they comment it, I automatically pop up in their DMs, and I'm able to put together this whole flow behind the scenes where I'm creating a really authentic feeling conversation. And so it automatically sends them, ManyChat sends them a question of me just chatting, and I can personalize it with emojis, have it feel really native. And it says, hey, I'm so excited that you want this guide. What's your first name? They put their first name. I'm then able to say, awesome, this is so exciting. What's your email? They opt in for this freebie, and then I'm able to send them that directly. So it's not taking people outside of the platform for like where people in this case might be opting in for a freebie. It's not taking them outside there. It's happening right in the DMs. A really applicable, I can see a lot of use cases. A really applicable use case is answering frequently asked questions from your clients, from future clients. If you're someone who maybe sends an initial pricing guide or sends link for consultations, if they're commenting a certain word, you can, or a certain word and all of its variations that you enter in ManyChat, you can get them that information right away. And one more thing to emphasize with the bot element of it, when we've been testing this out, what we find is this opens the door for so much more communication. People things that they need, it gets people things that they need right now, but then it allows us to be able to have these really organic conversations after that because we've already opened the door. We're able to say, okay, awesome, do you have more questions, or let's chat about that more. And so if you have future clients reaching out to get pricing or to get this booking calendar link, you're able to then follow up with them. I mean, it could be automated through ManyChat or them naturally, and it just has a lot of power to it.
Well, it's like a whole basically welcome funnel in
Yes.
our DMs that now they're also
Yeah.
getting to know us a little bit better and feel like talking with us. And so like that next step, or like maybe that barrier to like actually reach out to us in DMs is already
Mhm.
broken. And so
Exactly.
it's so much easier than to like see a thread, but oh, I already talked to them basically. So let me just continue this conversation.
Absolutely. And it's powerful. You can have, like I
Yeah.
was saying, text, emojis, but you can have voice memos, you can have videos, all just in this flow. And you were alluding to this earlier, John. So I was so excited to tell
Mhm.
you about mini chat because I heard the founder talking about mini chat and they said, basically your best employee ever. They don't take vacation. They are always on. They have
Yep.
instant. I'm like, oh girl, I love that. That it's just
Yeah.
if you have this employee on your team now who is just getting after it. And I think we so often talk about inquiries with wedding clients of who answers it first is really powerful. But
Mhm.
work-life balance, can we have like a life in between here? Well, now mini chat
Right.
can do that work for you. And so I think there's just some really fun, engaging stuff. If you guys as listeners are interested whatsoever, we have just like an example funnel where you guys can hop on over to at Cameron and Tia, our Instagram, and you can just DM us chat, CHAT, and it'll just walk so that you can get a feel for it. It has kind of all of the different
Mm.
types in there where you can see a voice memo, you can see a video, and get a good feel for like, oh, this is what it's about. I'm gonna be honest, when I started seeing people use mini chat, I opted into so many
So
things
many.
because I just want to see it. Like it's fun
Yeah.
from a consumer
Like
or
even
like
knowing what's happening behind the scenes.
exactly. I just like love it, and I think it's so engaging. It's so fun. It's so
Yeah.
fresh.
Huh. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna head over to your DMs right after this.
Yes.
It's like I love that. I love automations
Right.
because it gives you freedom to really
Yes.
focus on what you want to focus on.
Right.
Exactly.
And a lot of automations can seem very bot-ish and very like cold and not your personality. Like y'all are super like fun and lively. So in the DMs, you don't want something
No.
that's just like, thank you so much for inquiring. And and that kind of bot, which is like you said, like maybe the listener's initial thought of an Instagram bot, but yeah, no, that sounds so great because like this last week was spring break and I had a lot of DMs that I just didn't get to right away
Yep.
because I'm spending a lot more time with the family
Right.
and
Uh-huh.
got the kids home all week and even some had our nephew for a few days too. So it was like
Yeah.
4 kids here.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot, but we had a fun time. And but because of that, like I wasn't able to personally be there as much. And yeah, I love that idea of this is pretty much like a very virtual assistant
Yes.
that is there 24/7 to answer these questions. And I love the funnel idea because I've
Yeah.
used like Instagram has where you can set up your frequently asked
Yeah.
questions to where if someone's like, hey, what's your pricing, and then it will send that question back,
Exactly.
or an answer back to them, but there's no funnel. So
Mhm.
it
Right.
sends them that answer, and then if they're like, oh, okay, what about for a destination wedding, and then it's just like it's just going to sit here until I do something. But
Right.
having
Yeah.
a funnel to where it can send, and I love the voice memos because I do that a ton on
Yes.
Instagram
Yes.
because it's just it's endearing. It's
Exactly.
much more connection whenever there's a voice memo, and even if it's automated, they don't know that.
Mhm.
And even if they are like, this is probably automated, uh,
It's still
it's
fun.
still, yeah, it's still like, oh, well, they put the time and effort into recording this for me, having an automation set up to where it sends me this valuable information even whenever they're busy. So yeah,
Exactly.
I
Yep.
I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, it's super fun. Like Cam was saying, I knew that once I figured out what was happening, 90% of the things I was opting in for, I knew it was a
Yeah.
funnel, but it's really engaging. And like you were saying with
Oh
the
yeah.
automated responses, you
Mhm.
can program it to have can't think what they're called, like pre-selected
basically a multiple
options,
choice of
multiple
sorts.
choice for them to reply.
Like choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure. Yeah. And it is when you set it up on the back end, it's kind of like choose your own adventure because it has all this
Yeah.
flow to the
Flow
funnel.
chart. Yeah.
Yes. And so, like you're saying about what about destination sessions or what about a destination wedding? What would the pricing look like? You can program that. And then what I think is really powerful is you're teaching people how to communicate with you. And I think that's always so important. You're teaching people how to talk about you. You're teaching people how to communicate with you. And in this, you are literally giving them the options, which not only has that power to it, but it also makes it super easy and accessible for them. It doesn't feel like, okay, well, they sent me this video. Do I have to send a video back? No, because look, there's just these options I choose from. Tap, done. I continue the conversation. And so when getting to know a potential client, so often, like let's say with the automated responses on Instagram, you send back whatever answer. And that's like, okay, conversation is kind of done, even if you are there actively. What else do we do here? But this is facilitating getting to know you, you getting to know them. And it has this back and forth that doesn't feel transactional and it feels really transformational.
Okay. Yeah. I love that because it is so different than the bots that maybe we've interacted with in the past.
Yeah.
And that is just like it's creating a great experience for your clients and potential clients instead of just like, oh, I'm not here, so let's put up this, this annoying bot that's always just like popping up and like, hey, do you need any help?
Yeah.
And like that person in like the department store that's always just like over your shoulder. Do you need any? What are you looking for? Do you need any help? Would you like me to try that on for you? I'm like,
Yes.
I'm just trying to look around, man.
Yep.
So yeah. Okay. This is awesome. I just those that y'all talked about is like I can see how that is going to be a game changer uh, for so many businesses and
Yes.
give you more freedom to work on the things that you really want to work on and not all of the kind of the mundane tasks of
Right.
figuring out all the ideation and all that with how you're going to show up for your clients and all that, which and y'all have a link for the
Yes.
listeners, correct, with
Yeah.
all these different things. Okay.
Yep. So, like John was saying, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And it feels like every day something new is coming out, a brand new app, a brand new site, or revision. And we really want to encourage the listeners, like these three that we talked about are fun. They're super engaging. If something resonated with you, check them out. If you want to see more, we have a link, CameronandTia.com/WIT, WITT. And we have so many different programs on there that you can just check out, wait till your curiosity hour and then get on there, click through them, explore them. They all have free version where you can explore, or like a free tier where you can really see if this is something that makes sense. And then again, some are free completely, and you can try a whole lot of different tools. We have some SEO tools, we have some image generation tools, we have obviously some editing tools, as I know a lot of photographers are hearing about, but you can just get in there and really explore.
Okay. That's awesome. You sent over that link and I was like, I'm gonna go check out all of these things.
Yes, good.
So
good.
yeah, I encourage you as well, listener, to go check that out, CameronandTia.com/wit. And I'll have that in the show notes as well. So you can just scroll on down and click on that. Go do your curiosity hour.
Get after it.
But yeah, awesome. Well, Cam, Tia, this has been so great. Really great getting to chat with y'all again. We didn't even talk about how we met.
Yes.
But yeah, we met at a conference, I don't know, like 6 months ago now.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's already been half a year. But yeah, like immediately I was like, okay, these are my people. They y'all are fun, and I'm just very very glad that we were able to have this conversation today and all that. But before we wrap up, before we go, I do want to talk about what we're loving this week. So if there's anything that y'all are loving, a movie, TV show, whatever, what are y'all loving this week?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll start. Mine.
Okay.
Whenever I think of things like this, it revolves around TV and movies. That's just like a big
Same.
part of who I am and what I'm doing in my free time or while I'm editing or something like that. So one, I just finished. We were on vacation for a while, got back, finally finished The Last of Us. Absolutely loved it.
So good.
Yes. One other show, She and I are watching.
That was gonna be
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well,
No,
you can
that's
take it
okay.
from there.
Yeah. We're watching Shrinking. I haven't
Yeah.
really heard a lot about it. It's on Apple TV. It's Jason Segel, and just like I love the cast. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge like I know this actor, I know this actress
I
person.
mean, Harrison Ford. Is
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah.
He's big.
Yeah.
Probably mentioned that.
Yeah.
But it's funny, it's engaging. It's Jason Segel is just fire in it. Like I think he's
Yeah.
so funny, and it's like kind of a quirky show. It is on Apple TV, which leads into if anyone out there is not a Ted Lasso fan yet, Ted Lasso is on Apple TV also, so you might as well get it so you can watch both these shows. And Ted
Yes.
Lasso third season just started
Yeah.
last week.
I
Are
was
you a
gonna
Ted Lasso
say,
fan?
I'm a Ted Lasso fan.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. And I've been seeing like they've been doing so much TikTok marketing for
Yes.
season 3.
Yes.
And I'm just like, oh, I need to set aside
Yeah.
like we need to start planning our evenings to where we watch Ted Lasso together. And
So you haven't seen the premiere yet?
I have not seen the premiere yet. No.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, it's great. It's great. It's
Yeah.
like waiting on Ted Lasso. For example, Kim's sister, we kept telling her watch Ted Lasso, and they just kept, you get recommendations, and you're like,
Right.
for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's about soccer. You
Right.
know
Right.
what a yeah.
Everybody, all the listeners, stop right now. Watch Ted Lasso. I think it is a show for everyone. It's heartwarming.
Yes.
You will cry.
Yeah.
You will laugh. You will get so attached to the characters.
Oh, yeah.
Just 10 out of 10. Cam's sister watched it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's like, "Why didn't you tell me this was so good?" And I was like, "Girl, and then they just
Yeah.
flew through 2 seasons in a couple of days. So there is your promo. Watch it.
It's because it's like it's a 30-minute
Yeah.
comedy series.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
super easy.
so easy to binge where you're just like, oh, I'll just watch another one. And then 30 minutes goes by. And the storylines are great and it's very wholesome and
Yep.
fun and so good like moral stories
Yep.
in there too that I'm just like, okay. I wasn't expecting that from this kind of a show. And
Yes.
it's
30
so
minutes,
great.
but you will cry and you will full out laugh every episode.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. And Rebecca and Keely's relationship is just it's my
So
favorite.
fun.
They're so good. Which I recently saw a movie with the actress who plays Keely, and I think she was like 16, or at least she was playing a 16-year-old.
Interesting.
It's an older movie, came out like maybe 2012 or so.
Oh.
And Jared Leto's the lead. It's called Mr. Nobody,
Okay.
which I believe is also on Apple TV, and it's on Prime Video too. But yeah, it's very interesting. It follows his whole life from like childhood to I think he's like 118 or something at the end of the movie,
Interesting.
and a bunch of flashbacks and stuff, and just like follows like if he had made this choice, what would his life had looked like?
Yeah.
And it was really good. And the girl that played one of his high school girlfriends,
Okay.
I was like, she looks so familiar. Who
Yes.
is she? And it was Keely, and she looks so different.
No.
But
I can't imagine Keely being in something else, or the actress
I
that
know.
plays Keely. Like she's
I
gotta
know.
be Keely. Like I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, she does not look like Keely like at all. Like I was like, oh wait, that's her. Okay.
Yeah. Funny.
But yeah, Mr. Nobody, if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
But okay, sweet. I love all of that. I need to start the what was the one they were just talking about? Not Ted Lasso, not The Last of
Shrinking.
Us. Shrinking.
Yes.
Yes. I've heard so many good things about Shrinking.
Yeah, it's good.
I need to get started on that one. So mine is also a show. So listeners, y'all are getting all the show recommendations today. It is called His Dark Materials,
Yeah.
and is really great. Last time I talked to y'all, I had just started the third season. I have since finished the third season.
Woo!
And yeah, it is a ride. But yeah, it's a really fun, fantastical journey based on a book series, and yeah, it's really really interesting world, and some good storylines too. So yeah, I really
Love
like
it.
that one.
Wait, I forget. Have you?
Yes, and I
Okay.
love it,
Had you
yeah.
seen it prior to John's Wreck?
Yeah. Well, I hadn't seen season 3. I
Got it.
watched.
Yeah.
I wasn't caught up, but
You converted
I
Cam to
have.
catching up.
Nice. Well, cool. Well, yeah, and that's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we got recommendations across all the
Uh-huh.
platforms for you.
Yes.
So whatever
Everyone
you
just
got.
sit around and watch TV now.
Yeah.
Yes, that is our life. Well, cool. Cameron, Tia, where can people find you? Where can they follow along? See
Yes.
your photography as well as all your educational things.
Yep, you can find us everywhere at Cameron and Tia. So it's Cam's name, Cameron, and And, and then my name, Tia, Tia.
Perfect. There we go.
Love it. Period.
Cool. Period. .com.
Including .com.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, cool. I'll have links to everything in the show notes for everyone so they can go connect with y'all on all the social platforms and yeah. Well, thank you
it.
so much
Thank you,
for
John.
being my guests today. This was so much fun, and I am excited to go to go DM y'all, chat, and just see that whole AI
Uh-huh.
funnel. But yeah, just checking out all of these the ones that y'all talked about, as well as like y'all had so many on that
Yeah.
list at cameronandtia.com/wit, where I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be maybe a couple of curiosity hours.
Yes.
But
Definitely.
but yeah. Well, again, thanks so much. It's great to chat with y'all again.
Yes,
Yes,
thanks,
thank
John.
you.
Yeah. All right. Well, not Instagram. Where are we? YouTube. Thanks for being here. Facebook. Thanks for joining.